I'm Marie Benoit-Connors. Everybody knows me as Mary Lou. I graduated from here, University of St. Joseph, in the class of 1983, and I was in the nursing program, and it was a wonderful, fulfilling experience. Grew up in Hartford. I went to Catholic grammar school, St. Anne's in Hartford, which is a French grammar school. My father had a pharmacy on Park Street in Hartford, and so from the time I was old enough to deliver coffee to all the different stores in the area that, would want their coffee delivered, and the hairdressing places, etc., and the women. So I was sent out to run around and do the delivering. Hartford was always kind of like my city, and I never knew that the other cities were different because Hartford is so ethnic. And it was fascinating to go and visit all the different ethnicities in Hartford. And so that was really part of my upbringing. I always had a fascination with new immigrants and refugees. I took courses in other colleges and universities in the area, and okay. And then I said, let me try St. Joe's. Let me take a course at St. Joe's. And it was immediately my academic home. This is where, it was where I wanted to be and continue to learn. It was a good feeling. My first course was a religion course. As an adult, I was really, really pleased to be able to learn my faith, relearn and learn more as an adult. And I'll tell you, the professor, Father Lesko, just made it a great experience. For my first time into St. Joe's. It was like, this is where I belong. This fits me. This fits me. The whole experience was wrapped around, the faith that I was pursuing. I mean, even to the point of being introduced by one of my professors, Nedra Kokomo, to Haiti, and to be able to travel with her. From the time I was in 5th grade, I had this little light in my brain that said, wouldn't you like to be a medical missionary? But that was like this awesome, what is that? And Nedra opened that door. And that happened here at St. Joseph. Then farther down, when I started working with the refugee children, and one of the things all children like is to be in the water in the summertime, but they didn't know how to swim. And I came here to St. Joseph and asked if I could bring some of the refugee students, and the swimming coach was so open and so wonderful and said, oh yes, we would be happy to do that, and how they made that happen on this end. But it just so worked, and St. Joe's was so open, welcoming, and for the children, how important it was, and it is for them. Now they know how to swim. I took many lessons, many lessons, and I like being in the water, but I'm much better if I have a little float with me. The other experience with prison ministry, it was a Sister of Mercy that came to my parish and talked about working with the women in Niantic in a Christian women's prison ministry. And I thought, oh, Corporal Worker Mercy, haven't done that, never wanted to do that. But if Sister says it's okay, well, maybe Sister Betty Secord, all right, maybe I'll give it a try. That was about 13, 14 years ago. I'm still doing it. We go back once a month, every single month. Our group is called Kairos. It's an international ecumenical Christian women's group. We go back, and the women that have been through the retreat, whether it was this year or 20 years ago, well, have we been there 20 years? I think at least 18, can come, if they're still there. Our motto is listen, listen, love, love. And I have gone to Niantic and sat there for 2 hours and have never spoken a word. But our statement there is that we are here to love you with Christ, so that you can know and love Christ. Guess what? We've seen it happen over and over. So it's been a really, really exceptional experience in that way, yeah. One of my professors, Nedra Kokomo in nursing, she said she was going to Haiti. She had been the year before and she wanted to go back, run a little medical mission, and I've always had an interest. You do your little part. you know, and everybody does their little part. And one of the Episcopal sisters said to me, as I was leaving, it seems so little what we do. And she said, did you ever see how many ripples one pebble makes in a bucket of water? That was in 1983, and I'm still going. Now it's twice a year, now that I can go twice a year to another underserved area, and I'm watching the ripples. When I was there in June, I was introduced to 221 orphans in one classroom. Wow, wow. And these children now, under the auspices of the Petit Frères de Sainte-Thérèse de l'Enfant Jésus, that's who we go and work with, the Little Brothers of Saint Teresa of Jesus. He is overseeing, and they are placing these children in foster homes rather than like in orphanages, where they can get some one-on-one and attention and love, and it's working out very well. As a result of going to this area, I now, 3.5 years ago, started my own 501c nonprofit called Helping Haitian Children. They have a school there, Our Lady of Fatima School, that has over 700 students. There was no meal provided because of the expense, and the principal said many children come to school, they haven't eaten that day, because very often they eat only every other day, and they fall asleep and they're listless and they don't learn. So I thought, you know, my nursing piece, where can I fit? Because the group I go with, there's the medical team, there's the building team, they need an eating team or a feeding team. So I decided that I would try to start there. So the money has been raised, and we are sending enough that they can provide a lunch program now 4 days a week to over 700 students. We've purchased food grinders so they can start to make their own food when we're not there, when we're not supplying, that there's a way that they can start their own little food economy and start to self-produce. In January, the building team built chicken coops, really good chicken coops. Can I admit, I send down dog and cat food because there's no such thing as dog and cat food as we know. You know, they'll get scraps. And in the compound where I go, they have some dogs and they have some cats. And every time I go, they're still there, or new ones. We're also starting some irrigation projects so that they can begin to grow their own food better and feed themselves. That would be the ultimate, my vision, and getting people in place to carry it on. There are wonderful Haitian people that want to help themselves, truly. Father Joe Shea here at St. Joe's, he asked me to come and meet the Asian refugees because I had just started working with African refugees that were coming in through Catholic Charities. They arrived, young husband, wife, and their 2 boys, and I keep saying all they had was the clothes on their backs, the flip-flops on their feet, 2 children, and the father had malaria. That's what they had. Catholic Charities got them settled, got them started, and you know what? It's 10 years later, maybe 11. They are now in a lovely little home. They have jobs, their children are in school, their son wants to go on to college. I mean, so I wouldn't let them go. I wanted to walk the walk with them. I saw an Asian man. He lived downstairs below and the African families, and I walked right into his apartment with him. And he turned around and I was still there. He said, oh. He knew some English, so he introduced me to the Korans, which is the Asian refugees that came in. And he's sitting in his house with his family and his elderly father-in-law, and they all have their coats on. It was like December, and they're in their jackets, and it's really cold. And I said, why don't you have heat? And he didn't understand. They forgot to learn. They weren't taught how to put on the thermostat. Just simple like that. So I said, this can't be hard. So just showing him how to get heat. They need to know that we care about them, and that's what they keep telling me. You welcomed us. You made us feel like you were glad that we are here. You made us, want to stay here, because if we needed something, we could call you, or we could call that one, or that one, or that one. We didn't feel abandoned in this country. So that was very, very huge for here, for letting them know that there is help beyond. You know, Catholic Charities can only do so much. And I always said, we come after them. You know, okay, now now you've got to do the rest on your own, but you're not on your own. You know, you can contact us. I picture many more wells delivering clean water. I picture children being able to be educated, all children being able to be educated so that they can read and write, so that the world can open up, so that they can have hope. I picture more industry starting there, that they can have jobs. I mean, I think back at all the doors that opened as a result of my involvement, my knowing the Sisters of St. Joseph. And the elderly sister of St. Joseph, Sister Pat Brewer, she was on our team, and she came until she wasn't able to. She would get the girls dancing, okay? And she would lead them around in the bunny hop or whatever it was that we would do that could just get some joy in our 3.5-day retreat that we did every year. And it was just, again, one good experience after another, fulfilling who I am, helping me to be who I think God has opened the doors for me to be. Of course, my latest statement is, when doors open now, especially with my Haiti involvement, I no longer walk through, I run through. I'm too old to walk. I gotta get these experiences going and keep them. So I have so much to be grateful for and so much to be thankful to for the involvement, my involvement with the University of St. Joseph, plus seeing the other young people that have come through here. In 1988, I was adopting 2 children. I met another woman from USJ there, adopting 3 children, adopting triplets. And it was the neatest thing, that comfort, the both of us. And we met in Lima, Peru, adopting our families. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, that was another USJ connection. So when I met her and Sister Laura, I had heard that Sister Laura had started a home for men with AIDS in Hartford. When I got home, I immediately called her, and I became her nurse for several years at that group home for men with AIDS. I, not too many years ago, realized that I was a happy person, that I am a happy person. I was so fortunate to always be able to do what I enjoyed. I mean, I loved nursing. And for 24 years, I did pulmonary rehab program. And it was like, really? I would have never guessed that, but I loved what I was doing. You know, and my family always brought me joy, and my outside work, and it just kind of kept accumulating and accumulating, and I realized I have to be very, very grateful to God for what He has given me. And if you've given me some gifts, then, as I said, let me take, I think you gave me a good gift of joy and a good reason. Let me make sure I spread that. Let me make sure I use that and as you would want me to use it. When I couldn't understand in 5th grade, when I said to Sister Albert, who was trying to say her rosary at recess, and I'm following her, and I remember saying, and then I blurted out, Sister, I want to be a medical missionary. And I remember going, where did that come from? Sounds good. I like that. It's got a ring, you know. And it never left, just that little, you know, it stayed there. And then when the opportunity came, it was like, okay. And the first time I went to Haiti, and I saw all these older retired people helping from the States, older and retired. I made a pact with God. I said, keep me healthy. When I retire, I'll come back. He kept his pact. I waited and waited to retire. I kept delaying it. Like, I know what I have to do. And I thank God every day. The first few times I went to Haiti, I was overwhelmed with my own sadness at seeing all of this. And then I read this, you know, Mother Teresa, and I had this little booklet with an article. And in this article, she said, and it has stayed with me, do not bring them your tears. They have enough of their own. bring them your joy. Guess what? God has given me enough good that I really feel joy. And I know that it's my job to share it. And that's not really a job, is it? That's a delight, and it only feeds the joy. So I'm happy, you know, and I'll keep on doing what God opens the doors for me to do. I can't leave out the support that I get from my husband. You know, he goes over everything I do, and he says, oh, that's good, oh, maybe you go a little bit here, a little bit there. Tremendous support with everything. And so thank you, Bob Connors, thank you to my children and to all my friends and all the support, because of course nobody does any of this alone.